Okay, so my mouse is defrosted, and normally what I use are these forceps, but I do that so that I don't have to touch the mouse because it's a little gross. And also so this guy doesn't get confused with my hand. Not that he would, or that I'm afraid. But here he is. He's really hungry. He's been moving around a lot the last couple of days, and he's looking for food, I can tell. So what I'm going to do is just grab it with my hand like you would have to do. And I know the mouse is defrosted because it's all soft. And so then what I'll do is, let's see, I'm trying to video. Hold the mouse right in front of him. If you poke him in the face with it or get a little too aggressive with it, he might get turned off. And if he gets turned off, then you just would throw the mouse away and try another day. But see how he's sniffing? He's starting to figure out what's going on here. He's opening his mouth. Oh, he's so slow. See, look how slow he is. So I'm just gonna stick the mouse in his mouth. This is like the most helpless little animal in the world. Normally he gets way more excited and he comes at me really fast. So this is not the best example of how the feeding normally goes. But I mean, you can see that he's not gonna be so fast that he accidentally bites you or anything. So here he goes. He's starting to eat. And the reason I'm not setting it down, I could, but this gravel that he is on, I don't want him to eat it. It's not the end of the world if he does. He'll just poop it out probably. But if I can avoid him having to pass a bunch of gravel, then I'm going to avoid it because I would hate to have impaction issues and then have to take him to the vet or something. Some people feed their snakes outside of the cage, like maybe in a paper bag, so they program them every time they go in the paper bag, they know it's time to eat. But with these guys, they can regurgitate quite easily, and so I've chosen just to feed him in his cage, so I don't have to pick him up and carry him and move him around after he's eaten. And it's just a choice you make as a pet owner, like how you want to do it. We hold him a lot, so I'm not worried that he's going to be confused between my hand and the mouse because he's used to us going and getting him out all the time. So, you know, when he does get to eat, he's like, oh, we're eating right now? It's not a normal occurrence for him as much as holding is. So for us, it's okay to just feed him in the cage. Oh, looks like he's going to try to pull it back into his little hide here. I have buried this piece of PVC in the ground for him. These snakes, because of that scoop nose, they like to dig and they like to burrow. And so I've kind of given him a tunnel. I'm going to just let go of it now. I've given him this tunnel and he loves going in it. When he's with you, I'm going to give you pine shavings, and you just put him in a box with pine shavings. and that'll be new to him, but it'll be fun because he'll be able to bury himself under the pine shavings. But when you feed him, what you could do is put a little plate, like a little saucer or something, or a plastic Tupperware lid or something like that. You could put that in there and then put the mouse in there on top of that so that he doesn't eat the pine shavings. You can keep it clean for him. He's a real mellow little guy, and I know that it's kind of gross that he eats mice, but I always tell people that they have frozen chickens and dead cows and lambs and all kinds of gross things in their freezer. So a little mouse is not any different than any other kind of meat you have in your freezer of a dead animal. So it's really not that big of a deal. See the shit that's getting stuck to the bottom of the mouse there? Don't really like that. But you can see how tight his grip is. It'll probably come off by the time he gets to it, but I still don't like it. I don't have enough hands to do the video and be controlling this. I probably should have put it on a plate, but because he's in his little tunnel here, it's kind of, I probably could have gotten him to come out for the mouse. But, just see how it goes here. You can always wipe it off as he's
swallowing it. He just might pull back into his tunnel if I mess around with him right now. He's in eat mode. So again, I was concerned about the size of this mouse, and if he were to regurgitate a mouse that you fed him, what you would do is not feed him again for a week. They even say 2 weeks because he might throw up the next one you give him. See, this one's a little too big for him, I think. This particular snake has to have a food that is about the width of his body, so you can like trace him on a piece of paper and then hold your mouse to that piece of paper and see if it's the same size of the girth of his body, and if it's not, then you know it's too big for him. But this is all I've got in my freezer right now, and I was kind of hoping he could do it. Normally by now he'd have swallowed this thing, so
A little concerned that he might not be able to get this one down. He may get it down but then regurgitate it, which is shitty, but it's not going to hurt him. Just means that he's going to have to wait for his next meal. And it's really gross when they regurgitate him. So you'll want to check him every day just to make sure there's no poop in his cage and that maybe that mouse stayed down, because you don't want to smell what that smells like. Sorry, this is such a long video. I was just hoping you could see him finish this thing. A normal boa or other snake could eat something that's like the width of its body plus like a quarter or something. But these little guys really need smaller food. In the wild, the hognose snakes eat frogs.
they're actually picky eaters in captivity. This guy's never been a picky eater for us, but some people who own hognose snakes will own toads as well, and they rub the mice on the toad to scent it. Scenting it with tuna also works, and raw egg. So yeah, these guys in the wild like lizards and frogs. Shit. This one looks like it's just a little too big, and you can't pull it out. These guys, they have a rear fang that faces back. So basically, if you rip the mouse out of his mouth, you're gonna hurt him. So once I tried a mouse that was like way too big, and this is really bad, but I took some scissors and I cut it. I cut the rear end of it off while it was half in his mouth, just to let some of the kind of guts come out so that he could get what he had down. He ended up still regurgitating that mouse. So, and it's pretty gross. So what I'll try to do is make sure I get you some small mice that are definitely the size he can easily eat. But maybe this is good for this video so you can see that, yeah, there it comes. He can't do it. Shit. All right, so if he spits this out for me, I'm gonna yank it. I'm not gonna try to get him to eat this. Crap. Poor guy. I thought maybe he could do it. He's been growing pretty fast, but these have been in my freezer because they were from a batch that I bought that was just a little bit too big. I buy them by the gram, and at the time we thought this was the size he was eating, and then it came in the mail and I realized it's not. So hopefully he'll just spit this one out for me. He's hungry. They get in the like eat mode, and he's not going to want to spit it out. He's going to want to try to eat it, but he'll realize after a while that he can't. So that kind of sucks. Sorry, this is a shitty video, but again, maybe it's good for you to just to know if this were to happen to you, what the deal is. And you could easily go down to the local pet store, your Petco or whatever, and buy a smaller sized mouse for him. A lot of those pet stores too, they have frozen in the, frozen pinks and stuff that you could buy. you could give him a live mouse. He loves live. That's much more exciting. So either way is fine. I just don't have a pet store near me that offer live. And so we feed him the frozen. The frozen are super convenient, and he didn't care. So I'm going to end this. I'll get back to you with what happens.